Hello, and welcome back to Hack Infection, another grindcore action episode. In this episode we will going for Bursting Forbidden Hypha, which is a level 2 battlefield of the wood element, and let's get right into it. Yeah, and let's have a look how that new field will look. Get ready. Starto. Okay, and we are in fight right away. Great. Bam bam. Speed spell. Double sweep. What are you taking? Why are you taking so long? Those are level 2 mobs. Okay, and let's get started. Okay, we have a well here. So let's get this one gets a Z1, and it's sunset. We need to write that down too for the updating of items. Okay. And it seems to be a low population one, so it should not take that long to clear the field. And yeah, let's go back to the last episode where I talked about for the lack of words, philosophical stuff, or I talk about stuff in a philosophical way. I don't know if that's the right word in this case, but let's just go with that. And I was quite happy after that episode, I must say. I quite enjoyed it, and after I was done with the episode I thought I should do that more often and not just grind through this shit. Minus shit, I mean. Because I think it is a little bit more entertaining to watch a grind video when I talk about stuff. But as I said at the end, or nearing the end of the last episode, there are only so much episodes, and maybe I will do some research into what I can talk about whilst grinding with you through this game. So maybe I will do that. Or if you know any interesting topics you want me to talk about, yeah, let me know in the comments, or send me a tweet at snap _ for the win at Twitter. Yeah, so let's go back to the philosophical and air quotes thing. Yeah, it's quite. I didn't expected it to be such a nice feeling. It did what's the word? Surprised me how it changed the episode for me, because it was quite fun to talk about stuff, even though my English is rather bad, and many of my thoughts getting interrupted by me not knowing the word in English. I mean, when I don't know how to vocalize myself, and the train of thought gets lost, which make it quite hard to listen to. I truly understand that, and I hope you can be understandable of that. And I will trying to improve on that, of course. That's one of the goals of this massive project, to get me more fluent in talking about stuff. Even though I think I need to get my hands more on English books in order to improve my my vocabulary. Because you need to hear or listen or read a new vocabulary in order to learn it. I can't always Google the word I'm missing currently. That doesn't. I think that doesn't work so well with improving your vocabulary. Yeah. Let's backtrack again to the philosophical part. I quite like or respect people who can make a living about talking or with talking, yes, just with talking or being philosophical about certain topics. And I think it is something that humanity has lost over the past hundreds and thousands of years. The great philosophers of the past, well, at some point, not at some point, it makes sense that we lost those because people nowadays don't have much time, even though that seems paradox in a time where you can get from A to B in such a fast fashion that you could do even, let's say, 50 years ago or 100 years ago. You couldn't even dreamt of it, that you can fly all over the planet in a few hours, if you like. Or in the case of Europe, where I live, I basically live just a few hours away from a big number of countries. I think there are 15 to 20 countries I have in 2 to 3 hours flying time range. So if you told people 100 or even 200 years ago, they would think you are crazy or something like that. To have that ability to reach so many places in such a short time. And yeah, I think on one side it did improve how humanity can live and learn, but on the other hand, the more we go in that direction, the more what's the word? Let me quickly look that up. What is that? That translation doesn't make any sense. Just a second. Rushed. Okay, that makes sense. The more we go on and oh, did we clear that area? Shit, I didn't. Well, let's go on. Where was I? Yeah. The ability to go to different places at an extremely high pace nowadays should, if you think about it, should help us to get more free time. But in my opinion, it only made us our lives more rushed than ever before, because it is expected from many people to do shit at a higher pace, because you have the ability to do stuff at a higher pace. And basically, in the end, we didn't want anything. On the opposite side, we lost the ability to sit down and think about stuff. And I think that this is a bad thing, and we should time from time to time and think about not only ourselves but where we are, where we place ourselves in the world and how we see the world, how it is going, not only in a political state, sondern also in a philosophical way, because I think that would help improve the relations between people, different kinds of people. Because a problem we now have is, well, it's a problem we always had, that if a person gets into let's take that example. You get into a rural area, even in your own country, you will be most likely viewed as an outsider because you are different. You are something new, and humans don't like, in general, don't like new things being introduced in their safe world they built for themselves. You may or may not be, what's the word? It may or may not be obvious to you, but or it doesn't even affect you. But to most people, they have a happy life if they have a stable life, and not a life where every second something new is introduced. And this is one of the problems why people have problems with different cultures. And if you live in a multicultural community or country even, you will have more what's the word? Let me check that fix quickly. Well, there are more focal points that will lead to conflicts because of different thought patterns or different, what's the word? Oh, this is so annoying that I can't articulate myself in the way I want to. Cultural differences, yes. Cultural differences can lead to much pain and suffering, as it did in the past and still does now, and which is quite sad, because I think we should take the differences we each have and use them to improve ourselves. It's something I learned, well, quite early, is maybe not the right thing to say, but when I was about 12, I visited Tunisia. That's a country in northern Africa, if you don't know. And I've seen there quite some things you wouldn't have seen where I lived in Central Europe, and it was well, life-changing is maybe is too strong word, but it helped me to view things in a different light, because I didn't, at that point, as a 12-year-old boy from Central Europe, you didn't saw those differences in what's the word? Between the difference between poverty and rich people in that stage, because being poor in let's say Europe, or being poor in an African country, are extremely different things. If you compared a poor person in, let's say, Europe, it would be in many places. If you go to Africa, for example, it would be a rich person, or a person of higher living standards than a normal person or an equal person had in those poor countries, for example. Yeah, where do I want to go with this? Yes, Back then, we lived in a hotel complex. That's basically an area where a shit ton of hotels are built, and around are certain areas where you can do certain certain what? No, wrong button. Certain things you do on your holidays. And in contrast to that rich area which was built for the tourists, there were the slums. You always had the slums in the area where those hotels you normally didn't want to go, because you shouldn't see how poor those people are that work in those hotel complexes, and it was a quite sad sight. That much I can tell you, and it helped me to appreciate the things I have and be a bit more respectful about stuff. Because if I look about the young generations nowadays, I think they are missing some experiences like that, because best examples are smartphones. If your child of, I don't know, 6 or 8 years age doesn't have a smartphone, he gets basically shunned by his friends or by his surroundings, which is so retarded in my opinion. But what can you do? You can't let your kid can't let your kid have a bad childhood because of those developments that where do I want to go with that? I lost my train of thought. Well, it's a hard thing to explain if I can't voice them correctly. Well, let's go about this way. Kids nowadays are expected to have the latest gadgets and the best of everything. Back in my time, oh jeez, that sounds old. We had a similar thing, and that was clothes. You needed to have the best clothes of a certain label and stuff like that. If you didn't have it, you were a lowborn, for the lack of words. You were an outsider. You would be picked on and stuff like that because you didn't have a certain type of clothes. And nowadays it is with gadgets. You need to have the best phones and whatnot, the best pads. And I think this is the reason that we live in such a time is because people don't appreciate what they have, because it could be because we had so much peace in the Western world, even though many people will say, what peace? We live in terrible times nowadays. And then I must say, we live in such a stable time nowadays. And I can't understand if people are basically ruin the safe life they have because they are too entitled and think they deserve more, even though they didn't even do anything to get there where they are, because they basically live on that what those people did that came before them. Yeah, I think this this episode is a little bit confusing because it has no real structure and I just rambling out what comes to my mind. I'm sorry about that. I tried to get into a certain direction at the start, but I drifted off. Well, where do I want to go with this? basically you should appreciate with that what you have, and not be too fixated on material things, and you should try to get more spiritual about life. That doesn't mean you should become extremely religious or something like that, but you should appreciate life as it is and what you have, because of the people that came before you and made it possible that you now can have a mobile phone that lets you surf on the internet while being on a train or an airplane or whatnot. And always think about, no, not always, but from time to time you should think about those people that live in lesser fortunate countries where they still don't have clean water or even a home or stuff like that, or even food, the basic needs a human has. Because I think that's another problem the Western world has, that people don't think about it, and they, let's for example say, they just give some money to charities, and then they feel better about themselves and think, now I helped the world. But in my opinion, the only thing they did was to help themselves to sleep better at night. Because in the end, sending money to charities most of the time doesn't help the people that truly need help. All over the place. I'm sorry about that, but my train of thought is very not very linear at the moment. Yeah, maybe I get better about that in the future. I hope so. And yeah, so let me repeat myself again. Be appreciative of that what you have and that what you got, and don't well, that's not right. I just wanted to say something really retarded, but I could stop at the last moment. You should enjoy life, and well, what else can I say? You should appreciate it. I said that. Yeah, I think we are at a point where people don't think about stuff like that. What's the word? There is something in game development which is taught at some game developing schools, and that's called a carrot on a stick. And I think that thing is sadly something that moved into our real life as well. And yeah, we are just doing things in order to get that shiny new thing that dangles before our face, and not something we wouldn't think otherwise about. I don't want to end the episode because I'm quite... I want to say so many things right now, but I can't put them into words. But I think we should end them now before I ramble on much more and ruin the episode even more. So thank you for listening to my ramblings, and until next time. Bye, P!